Hi, I'm Glenn Rodriguez, one of the co-chairs for our Moving Forward in Faith Capital Campaign, along with Paul Battaglia. I'm here today to explain why we need our lights repaired as one of the driving forces in this campaign. So let's get started. It's in the middle of the afternoon and we've turned the lights on so that you can see where our lighting is coming from. Most of our light comes from the fluorescent lights, which are behind the wood troughs and reflects down off the ceiling. For the center area where the altar is, we have stage lighting, which are these large lighting fixtures that shine right down on the altar area. The choir area has some track lighting that's kind of hidden behind the beams from where we're at, but you can see one of the track lights over there to the left-hand side. We measured the lighting levels in the worship area when we started the original Living Our Mission capital campaign. What we learned is that compared with the architectural standards of what lighting should be in an auditorium area, the only seating area within our nave that had adequate lighting is the front row, which is closest to the altar. All of the other seating has lighting levels which are below the architectural standards. I've downloaded an app on my phone, so let's take a look at how these lighting levels change as you move from one area to the next. We are here in the back of the worship space, and I wanted to see what the lighting level is in this area. As you can see, it's reading 1.6 to 1.7 foot candles. I have now moved down to the center rows in the sanctuary, so let's take a look at what the lighting levels are here. As you can see, they're about 4.5 to 5. The altar area, we have on the order of 20 foot candles. So that's quite a difference from what we had in the back of the church. Just moving from the back seats to the front seats, we had 3 times as much lighting. Part of the problem we want to resolve here is to have adequate architectural standard lighting throughout the entire nave seating area. So let's take a closer look at some of the problems we're having with the fluorescent lighting. You've probably noticed some dark spots as you pan around the worship space, and that's where lights don't work right now. So I have a ladder over here that we can climb up to get a closer look at some of the bulbs that aren't working and explain exactly what's going on up there. So I am up at the light troughs looking at the fluorescent fixtures which provide most of the lighting in our worship space. These are T12 type bulbs. That may not mean much to the average user, but the T12 are the fat fluorescent bulbs that we've seen throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. These bulbs are no longer manufactured in the United States. They quit manufacturing them because of the high energy that they used and also because of the amount of mercury that they had. The preference nowadays is to go to a smaller bulb or even more preferable, an LED bulb which has no mercury. But there's another problem that we have here. Let me focus on these tombstones. You'll notice that the tombstone, and that's this white thing that holds the bulb in place, is cracked. These tombstones have been up here for 40 years, and over the years, the plastic has dry rotted and started to crack as we change the bulbs. In several areas, the only thing that remains to hold the bulb in place rather than the plastic is the copper anode part of the tombstone. The problem with this is that if the bulb contact starts to arc against this copper anode, it can start a fire. Where this has happened, we have not installed bulbs to keep the place safe. The other problem that we are experiencing with these 40-year-old fixtures is the lights which are inoperable even though the tombstones are still there. That problem is a result of the ballast within the light no longer
working. It is a difficult repair to try and replace these ballasts because each of these rows of lights is on a separate circuit, which means that a ballast in one fixture will control lighting in another fixture. We do our best to try and keep up with these, but the real solution that we need here is to replace these old fixtures with new LED lighting. So next, I would like to look at the spotlights which light up the center of our worship area. We are now up in the light control room. This is the little opening that you can see in back of the church up by the ceiling. This unit that we have here is the unit which controls all of the stage lights that shine on the center of our worship area where the altar is. The difficulty with this unit is being 40 years old, some of it has started to no longer work. We've had to disconnect some of the spotlights because they were no longer working and they were a potential fire hazard to leave them connected. We tried to have this unit serviced back in 2014, but we learned that not only did they no longer have parts to repair it, but the company that manufactured it no longer supports it. This unit needs to be replaced in order to control the lights in the center of our worship area. We have a new unit that we've purchased, but it's going to cost us about $3,000 to have this unit connected to all of these cables which go out to the lights in the worship space. We're not sure that that's a prudent expenditure given how close we are to actually being able to complete this project. The third part of our lighting in the sanctuary area is the track lighting for the choir area. Now this light is coming from these track lights that you see around the beams, and it shines down in the choir area. Similar lighting shines down where Father sits. The difficulty with this lighting is that because it shines right down in your face, it creates a glare to the people who are here. The best type of lighting to have in a choir scenario, wherever the choir is located, is down lighting that comes straight down and has a slight reflection back up at you. That way it doesn't have the glare in your face. So we are now back on the main floor of the nave. As you saw, most of our lights are in need of repair. Our facility director, Mark, is doing the best he can to keep these lights working, but replacing ballasts and an occasional bulb is only a band-aid fix. These lights and the whole lighting system needs to be replaced, and the proposal in our conceptual drawings was to replace all of our lighting with LED lights. The conceptual drawing also suggested that we install a gypsum board ceiling in here. That has several advantages. First, a suspended ceiling will give us better reflection of the lighting than the Tectum does because it has a smoother surface. Secondly, by suspending the ceiling slightly from the existing level, we provide a space between the sheetrock and the Tectum that we can install downlighting. Now, downlighting is going to be the preferred solution to provide the right amount of light evenly throughout the space and more lighting in areas where we need it, such as the choir, the altar, and where the presider is at. The third reason is that it will provide better sound control, but we'll address that in a separate case video concerning the sound. And fourthly, it's going to provide a much cleaner look than we presently have with the Tectum, the bars, and the sprinkler system. So that's it for our lighting case in the Moving Forward in Faith capital campaign. Please check out the other videos we have on the sound system and the heating and air conditioning system. Thanks for watching.